Welcome to Harvest International Ministry. I am Deaconess Erica Lanfear. I am one of the elders of Harvest International Ministry. As you can see, our Bishop Ronaldo White is not here today. He's actually at a conference in Tennessee, so I will be giving the word today. And the title of our word is Unworthy but Chosen. A challenge to the Christian community seen through God's eyes. All right. Miscarriage, fornication, depression, suicidal, lisp, liar, essayed, not humbled, low self-esteem. Of all those, has anybody ever experienced one of those? How many do I have? Has anybody experienced two of those? Has anybody experienced three of those? Has anybody experienced 4, 5, and 6? I have experienced all 3 of those. As you can hear I speak, you can hear that I have a lisp. Somebody who has lisp is not supposed to be up here speaking to you. I should be quiet according to what the world says. I should be quiet. I shouldn't say too much because I should be afraid that people are going to pick on me. So me being up here with this lisp is not me. It's not something that I want to do. It's something that God gave me to do. Not humbled. For a long time, I looked down on illegal immigrants, but I didn't think I did. I didn't acknowledge I did. I just sometimes I'm like, oh, why they get this and why they get that, but I never thought, hey, you're not being humbled. You won't. They go over there and clean a bathroom. You won't even do that. You won't serve. They serve. And God had to really do something in me for me to become more humble. And now, if I have to go clean that toilet, now, mind you, there's certain people I don't clean toilets after. My son knows who I'm talking about. And he knows why, but he's my son, so I can say that. But if the toilet needs to be cleaned because we are about to have service, and I'm the only one here, it's going to get cleaned by me. Low self-esteem. For years. I am 48 years old. I'm about to be 49. Until maybe about sometime in my mid-40s, I had low self-esteem. I did not think well of myself. I didn't think I deserved anything. Until I really surrendered a lot of things to God, where God has said that, no, I made you. I made you in your mom's womb. You deserve anything that I give you. Essayed. While I was in the 4th grade, I was essayed by somebody who called me their friend. Who called me that I was friend. And at the time, I didn't really know what was going on or what. Thought it was by one of my female friends, and I thought it was okay. And then I began to eat, and I never told my parents this happened to me. This not the and this won't be the last time something like this happens to me. But there was one time that she invited me over to another girl's house. And her and that girl essayed her. And then she turned around, the girl essayed me. And the girl's sister that we went over said, pointed to me, said, she will not go in that room with you. I know what y'all do in there. She will not go in there with you. And God saved me from I do not know what God saved me from. But whatever was going to be worse than what I've already went through. A liar. Ooh, I lie. I have lied about some things. I lied a lot. I lied so much when it came to fornication, I had an affair with a married man and lied and said I didn't. I thought, okay, well, I was in a relationship with him first and everything was okay. And I cared about him before he got married. myself, not thinking, idiot, you were dating him and he went and got married. No, I'm thinking he loved me. We were in a relationship first, and that she was wrong for getting married to him when I was in a relationship with him first. So I continued it in my own weird way, thinking it was okay. Depression. For years, I suffered with depression. Part of it because of, my low self-esteem. I went from work to home, back to work, maybe by my parents' house, back home, back to work. My life was not filled with anything until I truly accepted God. And I knew about God. I knew about church. I grew up in church. And as a matter of fact, I got essayed by somebody in the church. My mom had just gotten saved not too long, and we were going to a church in Gadsden. And it was this older man, and he was always staring at me. My mom was like, something's not right. He's too much going to my daughter too much, and I always want to sit near her. And one time they told, okay, you know how like in some churches they say, okay, go give your neighbor a hug, give everybody a hug, give everybody some love on them. Well, he took it a little too far, and he touched me, and he kissed me all over my face. Nobody, I don't think my mom saw it because my mom, if y'all know my mom, she'll have acted fool in church if she had saw that. So I don't believe she saw it, and I didn't tell her till years later. And then my dad told her about maybe 2 weeks later, you need to go to a different church. You're driving too far. Gaston's too far. You need to go to a different church. And so my mom told him she had to go to a different church, and that's how we left that situation. I think God used my dad, who is not saved, to get me out of that situation before it came worse. I had a miscarriage. You remember I just told you that I had an affair with a married man? Yeah, I got pregnant, and I ended up miscarrying my child. And to this day, I don't think that it was a punishment, but I don't think it would have been a good situation for that child to come into. So sometimes God works things out. So all this stuff that you see up here, I have experienced. I have been through it. So you think somebody with all that stuff going on, God can't use, right? Yeah, no, God can't use nobody who's going through depression, or somebody who done fornicated, and somebody who got SA'd and who got low self-esteem. Somebody who have a list shouldn't be up there talking, right? Wrong. That's exactly who the ones God uses. So I have a challenge to our Christian community. We often place our own expectations on others instead of God's expectations. See, as Christians, we have these expectations how people are supposed to be. But instead of going to God and asking him how he wants us to be, or what do we have for this person? What do we have for Esther in her life? What does God have the plan for Esther? No, we expect Esther to act the way we want Esther to act. That's not that, and most of the time, that's not God's expectation. We have to realize we have to go by what God expects. We criticize young people, forgetting that they are still learning and will make mistakes. Pastors even said this: you're young people, you're young. Make the mistakes. Make them now. Don't be like me, 30-some years old, having an affair with married men. Don't be like me, suffering from low self-esteem. Don't be like me, doing some of this stuff, because I felt like that I kept making the same mistakes over and over again and did not learn from them. You make mistakes, learn from them. And we'll make mistakes. Too often, our approach comes not from love, humility, or empathy. And these are some of the things that we've been discussing in our devotional: is humility, being humbled, and empathy. But from the belief that we are better. The truth is, we rarely understand the full story of what someone is going through. See, I remember like when I was a teen, and I can sit there and tell you guys, I remember when I was a teen, but what I went through as a biracial person, traveling to different places in the night when my parents were early on married, is something that y'all go through. I haven't experienced what y'all have experienced, but I put my own experiences on what other people's experience, and I have to learn. See, God is working with me on this. So when I was doing this, it wasn't directed at nobody in particular, because this is something God worked with me first. It's putting my own expectations on people and thinking, oh, they should be like this, they should be like that. Not remembering at one time when adults would tell me, I'm like, they don't know what I'm feeling. They don't understand me. And sometimes people just need an ear to listen. So God uses people that were once considered bad, unworthy, or broken to accomplish his purpose. So we're going to look at Rahab. Rahab was a prostitute, y'all. So we're talking about me committing fornication. Rahab was real committed. She was doing some things. But even though she was a prostitute, God used her. God used her to help. Oh goodness gracious, she protected the Israelites when they came into the city. She protected them and kept them in the house so that nobody would kill them. She protected them. A prostitute. It wasn't no soldier. It was a prostitute who protected those two Israelites who came into the city. By faith, the prostitute Rahab, because she welcomed the spies, was not killed with those who were disobedient. See, some spies came into the city. You know what a spy is, because they lay out the land. And when people were trying to kill the spies, she hid them in her house. And you know what? You know who comes from Rahab's line? Jesus. Jesus comes from a line of from a prostitute. So we think, oh, Jesus came from a perfect place, but no, not Jesus came from a line of a prostitute. And so we think of, when I was saying that, we think of bad or unworthy. We have seen in our lives, well, some of us, not all of us in here, have seen in our lives some examples of people who we thought were unworthy and bad. And one of them is sitting in here right now. His name is Adrian White. We look at him, and some of us who remember how, goodness gracious, that those boys. I know the first time I babysat them, I was like, because I thought, oh, they're so cute. Oh, they're just so cute. After babysitting them that first time, I'm like, oh Lord, what's wrong? And I'm going to go into details, but we're at the mall, and I watched them, and some things happened, and I'm like, why are they doing that? But God uses them now. Now Adrian is teaching our Sabbath school. Now Adrian is acting like a father figure to my own son, the one boy who I was like, oh, why is he doing that? He's bad. God can't do nothing with him. Is a father figure to my son. Who would have thought that this young man would be a father figure, not to my son, but to others? He has stepped up in ways and that God has used him. But back then we weren't thinking God was going to use Adrian. And I know some people like who don't know Adrian, don't know some of the things that they had to do, because even some stuff before my time that I've heard about, they had to restrain him because of his attitude. But now, and then we forget. And I was talking about earlier how, like, we forget about what young people go through and they make mistakes. Adrian made a lot of mistakes. But he made those mistakes and he's learned from them. And we have to learn from that. Remember that he has learned from the mistakes. And that when we see our young people doing stuff and like, oh, they get on my nerves. Oh, they get on my nerves or stuff like that. Hey, I'd rather make these stupid mistakes now. And then when, like I said, we were at 35, they're 35, they're still making the same mistakes at home. Another one, the Samaritan woman. The Samaritan woman was at the well. Jesus went to Samaria. He was traveling with his boys. They were walking around Jesus walked up to the woman, and he said, "Go get your husband." And she said, "I'm not married." He said, "That's right. You're not. You're living with them, and that's not your first. That's not the first person you ever would live with." So she was living with these different men, but God still used her. Jesus revealed himself as the Messiah to her, and she brought the entire town the good news. See, when she noticed that was the Messiah and that he's who he said he is, she didn't keep quiet. We tend to keep quiet. We keep our mouth shut. We know who God is, and we have so many more opportunities of ways of spreading it. We got our phones, we got our TV, we got our video games, we got devices. We got so many ways to get Jesus' word out, get who Jesus is. And the only thing she did was have her voice. But you know what she did with her voice? She's like, "Hey, y'all. That's the Messiah right there. He told me about myself. He told me about who I am." But the thing is, when God told her about who he is, he didn't look down upon her. See, we have a bad habit as Christians looking down upon people when we find out how they did things. Oh, my gosh. Like, I just told you all my junk. And I bet you if I told some Christians about my junk, they're like, "Oh my gosh, she did this, she did that." But that was who I used to be, and that's what we have to remember. Some people are not who they used to be; it's who God has chosen them to be. And when they're going through their stuff and they're making mistakes, we got to remember that's not God's plan for them. God's plan for them is to be this person. So what we do is we help them get there. If they're supposed to be a preacher, or they're supposed to be a teacher, we don't put them so far down and push them so far down that they have to and they have a hard time climbing back up. No, hey, you made it. Come on, let's clean you up. Come on, let's dust yourself off. Let's go on, because you know we all make mistakes sometimes. Like Miley says, we all make mistakes, but it's not for you to stay down there. It's not for us to keep them down there either. And that's what we've been doing. We've been keeping them down there. We've been keeping them down there while they're going through all this stuff and say they're not worth anything. They're not good for nothing. But that's not what God sees. God sees that they are good for something, that he has something for them. And when he knew them in their mother's womb, we didn't know them in their mother's womb. So we don't have the right to say they're and talk about they're good for nothing. Moses. You know how, like I said, I have a list. Moses had a stuttering problem. Y'all know what stuttering is? Yeah, y'all know what most of y'all know what stuttering is. If y'all heard Lamar talk sometimes, y'all understand what stuttering is. Or understand that he can't talk well. That's how God's going to heal him from that as well. But when God told him to go speak, to go free the Israelites, he was like, I can't do that. I can't talk. See, he cursed his own self with his tongue, saying what he can and cannot do. But that's not what God had planned for him. But God said, go ahead, take your brother. Go ahead, take your brother. Take Aaron. Let him go with you. He could speak for you. But not only was that one of Moses' things, Moses murdered somebody, y'all. He killed somebody. When he was living in Egypt in Pharaoh's house, he killed somebody. And I can't remember exactly who it was, but it's one of the Egyptians that he killed. So that's why he had to flee somewhere else in the desert. And that's where he met his wife, and they had a family and all that stuff. But he murdered. So not only Moses was a murderer, Moses had a lisp. I mean, not lisp, but he had a stutter. And God still had him lead the Hebrews out of Egypt. Could y'all imagine following somebody y'all know committed murder? I don't know about following them. I don't know now. He don't make good decisions. He don't kill somebody. When he killed him, he's defending a slave. But you might not know all those details. I don't know. And that man can't talk. How am I going to understand him when he say go right? And I'm sitting here going left because he don't say go right because he's too, I need. And I'm like, dang on it. I wish he was quiet. Which way? Which way? Do I go right? Do I go left? Come on, Moses. But no, these people still follow Moses. They followed him, and he's like, okay. Oh, I'm not. Okay, he's walking. I'm walking too. All this water on my left. All this water on my right. Moses, we okay now, Moses? All right. But y'all, he murdered somebody and he got a stutter. But I'm walking through this sea with the water all up here, and we're on dry land, but the water, and it can crash on down to me anytime. But I'm trusting that God sent Moses to free the people. So I'm gonna go with that. See, in Exodus 4:12, it says, now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. So God's saying, I will help you speak. Send Aaron, and I will teach you what to say. So 1 Corinthians 1:27-29. But God chose what is the foolish in the world to shame the wise. God chose what is weak in the world to shame the strong. God chose what is low and despised in the world, even the things that are not, to bring to nothing. These things so that no human being might boast in the presence of God. But so we're gonna break these verses down just a little bit, so we can have an understanding of what is being said here. But God chose the foolish, the things of the world to shame the wise, but God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. So does it sound foolish to you that the doctors told them that y'all, they ain't gonna pass the 4th grade? They ain't gonna pass it. They ain't gonna pass it. I'm letting you know you're gonna take care of them the rest of your life. These boys ain't got it. They ain't got it. They ain't got it mentally. I'm just letting you know. But you know what? I wonder what that doctor would say now if he saw Adrian and Jordan. Adrian graduated with honors with $250,000 scholarship. Jordan is somewhere in the Marines and with high security clearance. They, even if he starts dating somebody, they got to be ran through the thing. So he can't even go and say, "Hey, I want to date this girl." Okay, what's her name? What's her birthday? What? Yes, he has to go through all that because his security clearance is so high. But he won't gonna pass the 4th grade, y'all. He won't gonna pass. And then he got an IEP. Oh, he must not be too bright because he had got an IEP. No, that ain't it either. See, God can use that situation. See, and the wise people who are supposed to be so wise, the doctors, are gonna be looking like, dang, that was supposed to be foolish. That's not supposed to pass the 4th. But now, look at them. See, for some of y'all, when Lonnie came to stay with Pastor and them, she had a bunch of tar in her lungs, bunch of tar, to the point where Pastor and Jennifer had to take turns sleeping because she had coughed up so much. How many of y'all see Lonnie running around this crazy place now? Doing gymnastics, doing flips, doing all this stuff, doing cheerleading. Now she ran track one time, now she wants to run it again. But Lonnie was supposed to have lung problems all her life because all this tar built up in her lungs. So that's not right either. That wasn't supposed to happen. As for some of you who don't know, I have low iron, and for 6 whole weeks I was on my cycle. 6 weeks on my cycle. I already have low iron, so I already get weak real easily. But I should have been where I was bed bound. How many of y'all heard me being in the bed for days on end in the month of June before? No. I was here on Sabbath. I went to a mission trip. Right before the mission trip is when it stopped. I was at work. I was doing all these things like nothing was going on. Because I wasn't going to let the enemy. I wasn't going to let the enemy stop that. And that was somebody was like, "No, that's foolish. You should have been in the bed. That's crazy. Why weren't you in the bed?" You see, I'm feeling okay. You so wise, but you see, I'm doing just fine. I'm walking around, no problem. So come on, if I don't have a problem, if I'm not feeling sick and I'm not laying down, why would I be sitting here doing? Why would I need to be laying in the bed just to be lazy? God chose the lowly things of the world and the despised things, and the things that are not, to nullify the things that are, so that no one may be boast before him. See, some of you know my niece Autumn. Some of you don't. Well, my brother didn't raise Autumn. He saw Autumn one time in her whole life, and she's almost 21 in February. One time. Well, in a few months, her mom is getting remarried to a man named Dusty. And if you look at Dusty on the outside, you're like, he has all these disabilities. He has the issue where his arm is like this, his leg, and he has to walk like this. And you're like, I can already see people looking at her crazy. But let me tell you a little bit about Dusty. When Dusty was born, there was an issue, and that's how he became where he has a hard time walking, and he has that thing. But Dusty did not let his disability stop him. Matter of fact, Dusty right now owns several properties. Dusty right now has worked for 20-some odd years for I forgot the city that he came from. I think it's Albertville or something, for 20-some odd years, and has retired from that. He does get a check, but he wasn't supposed to have all this stuff. They just bought a house. See, if you look at Dusty, you would think that he's so lowly that he's not supposed to have none of this. But God can use that to confound people. That he can use the people. See, what people see on the outside is not necessarily what's on the inside. See, we look at people on the outside, and that's not how God wants us to look at it. God wants us to see people as their heart. And that's where we as Christians a lot of times stop. We'll look at the outside. We'll see Lamar, my son's name is Lamar. We'll see the outside of him. And if y'all know Lamar, my son can act up. I know this. I get phone calls from schools. I get emails from school. But Lamar does have a soft heart. And I look at Lamar and I remember where Adrian Jordan came from. And I remember that Lamar still has time to is going to grow. And that this is not where he ends at. That God is going to take him further than what he is right now. See, for y'all don't know, I adopted my 3 kids. My kids are adopted. My oldest one, named Nevaeh, when she came, they stayed with my pastor for about a year. She came to live with them, and when she came to live with them, she sat in the car because they tried to make her repeat kindergarten. There is some issues with the biological, and she was not in school a lot, so she missed a lot of school. And so they took her, and our pastor, being the man that he is, went to that school and said, she will not repeat kindergarten. And they tried to argue with him. He said, no, she will not repeat kindergarten. See, if you know our pastor, you know our pastor's not going to back down for something that he knows is right. And he knew that she didn't have to go to kindergarten, that she didn't have to repeat kindergarten, that she can go in the first grade. So when you have somebody, that's who you want in your corner, somebody who's going to defend you. She told our pastor, I don't want to be dumb. I don't want to be stupid. See, Nevaeh has started a high school. Technically, it's still middle school, but we don't have a middle school, so we started high school at 7. 7th grade, not at 7th grade. This is the first year that she's ever started off with A's and B's. Usually she starts off school, she'll have one C and it'll be like a 78, and then the rest of the year be all A's, and she'll be making an honor roll. This year she made honor roll for the first 9 weeks. Right now she's sitting at all A's. But see, God chose a lowly thing, somebody who's supposed to be nothing, who come from nothing. But now he's done rose her up. And now she's making honor roll when people thought she wasn't going to make it. See, my son Lamar, I just said, he's a handful. He's not easy to go. He's not easy. But see, I think about where he would have been at if he had not stayed, if he had not come to stay with me. See, I know how Lamar was. He's gotten better. See, Lamar used to do some stuff. He hauled off and hit his biological mother one day. But see, that's not the same Lamar that you see right now, because he won't hit me. He won't hit no woman. Because he's like, Mama, I didn't try. I said, did you just try to hit me? No, Mama, I didn't try to hit you. Oh, okay. But that's not what he did. So the fact that he even had his attitude has changed in that respect. Because see, because we always wonder if Lamar stayed, would he have made it past 16? Leilani, I told you Leilani had a lot of tar in her lungs. She couldn't breathe, like she was like throwing up black mucus. Like that's how much tar she had in her lungs. Black mucus. She might not have, if she didn't go stay with Pastor and Miss Jennifer, the pastor's wife, she might not have made it to 2 or 3 years old. See, well, there's another story of another child. Our pastor's granddaughter, her name is Alora. If y'all know Alora, y'all know that she was born on July 4th, and she truly is a firecracker. See, when Alora was born, she had no lungs. What? No lungs. When she was, she had to stay in the hospital for 6 months. See, they think, a lot of people have it was foolish of Ariel not to abort the baby. It was foolish of her. But now Alora's 2 years old, walking around talking. You were like, is that the same 2-year-old baby that didn't have no lungs? See, this is what it says: God confounds the wise with the foolish stuff. Because we, as humans, think that was foolish, but God said no, that wasn't foolish. That was wisdom. So I'm about to close out, and I won't close out with these same words that I started off with: fornication, miscarriage, lisp, depression, suicidal. I need somebody to go bring Brittany to me in here, please. Depression, liar, essayed, not humble, low self-esteem. See, our experiences in the past do not define us who we are now. See, your story can affect somebody else. Your story could change somebody else's path. Let's say that you were suicidal. Like I said, I was suicidal. I wanted to commit suicide. I was like, God, I can't take this no more. I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't do it no more. I said, have nothing to do it with. To be honest, I had nothing. I was in my room and there was nothing around me to do it with. But the thoughts were there. And if there was something right there, I would have. But I one last attempt, I turned to God. God, I can't. And He just brought this peace, a peace over me, the peace that surpasses all understanding, and told me it's going to change. It's not going to be the same. See, that same man I told you that I had an affair with, and I had cared for him since I was 15 years old. If I see him now on the street, I'm like, what in the world was I thinking? I saw him at his grandmother's funeral, maybe like 10 years ago. And I'm like, oh, Lord, what was I thinking? Ooh, what did I see in this guy? Because God took that from me. So I want you guys to remember, as Christians, we need to remember that with these youth, that they are going through something that we may not have ever experienced. We didn't experience social media, the stuff that they see. They call it, we have to remember where they're at and be that encouragement, be that listening ear. Sometimes they don't want to hear us talk. Sometimes they're like, oh, gosh, I wish she shut up talking. Oh, my gosh, you talk too much. I do not want to listen to what that old lady has to say. But sometimes it's me sitting in there, because I have these students who come in my room, and they talk, okay, thank you, Miss Langford, for hearing me out. I'm like, I didn't say okay. I didn't say nothing to you, but I'm glad everything worked out. You feel better. Just because I didn't try to give them advice or tell them how they should feel, and they shouldn't feel this way, they should feel this way, or should feel that way. I just sat there and listened, and most of the time I was sitting there typing. Really, that happened? Oh, okay. Oh, I hate that happened to you. Oh, okay. All right. I got to go to class. And they'll run off and go to class. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad it all worked out. And that's how sometimes they all need. And if you don't know to say, do you want me to give you advice or something? But I thank God that we have people that have a love, an open heart, because our pastor was saying we need to have an open heart for our people. And not just our young people, for people, period. Just an open heart. And so I just want to thank you guys for listening to me.